Hey Throners, happy Thursday. I'm super hyped today because this video will be focusing on something that all of you have been asking for, and yes, that's right, a Game of Thrones Season 8 video focusing on Sandor Clegane, the Hound. If you do enjoy getting hype and you love Game of Thrones, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. There is a ton more hype videos on the way. You guys know me, Sandor Clegane the Hound is my absolute favorite character in a Game of Thrones, and last season he played a huge role, which does give me hope that in Season 8 he will finally complete his redemption arc, making for one of the most interesting character arcs in the series. There's a few paths that his final journey can take, so I want to dive deeper into the possibilities. Option number 1. The Hound dies in the War for Dawn, protecting Arya or Sansa in the north. Some of you are already saying, well, what about the Cleganebowl? Don't worry, we're going to get into that in just a little bit, but we have to consider that the Hound will go down fighting against the White Walkers, possibly in a battle at Winterfell. Sandor shares a lot in common with the Stark girls, and they have both endured a significant amount of tragedy. But despite the aura of negativity surrounding his reputation, we can argue that Sandor taught valuable lessons to both Sansa and Arya. I know there's a lot of you out there that think that Sandor could possibly have a romantic relationship with Sansa, the Sand theory, but the love, in my opinion, is more brotherly or sibling-like. And we have to remember that Sansa and Arya were both in alien situations removed from the comforts of Winterfell, and I think Sandor understood that, seeing the bullshit hypocrisy that the royal regimes pushed out on a regular basis. But the reality of the situation is that the War for Dawn is finally here. There's no more dragging out these plot lines, and Season 8 is the final season of the original story. And it is going to be going out with a bang, people, the army of the dead versus the side that fights for the living. The Hound is easily one of the strongest and best fighters, one that could possibly wield a Valyrian steel blade. That's right, Heartsbane, I'm calling it now. And I believe regardless if the Cleganebowl goes down, Sandor is going to have to face the army of the dead again, but this time, the situation may require his sacrifice. Last season celebrated the connection between the Hound and Arya. That talk between Sandor and Brienne was one of the best callbacks we have seen. Back to one of the best adventures we've yet to see in the show, and Sandor was like a proud father, now aware that Arya is able to defend herself, nearly besting one of the realm's best fighters that happened to almost kill him. And the Song of Ice and Fire is all about highs and lows, and I believe that Arya will be on her high, supremely confident headed into the final season. But this could lead to a situation where she is being absolutely badass and gets overwhelmed. Remember that moment when she made her first kill and Sandor told her to tell him if she's going to do something like that again? Well, I think we could hear those very lines repeated again when they are overwhelmed by the sheer massive numbers by the army of the dead. And if Arya is to experience hubris of coming down to earth, imagine a situation where Sandor tells her to leave him and he uses fire in a final stand to buy her some time to escape with the rest of her family and loved ones, killing the Whites and possibly a White Walker. This situation would be intense because despite Arya becoming more like no one, this would no doubt affect her deeply, knowing that Sandor was truly ready to risk his life not once but twice for her. And I think because of the lessons he taught her, this could be one of the bittersweet moments we are left with in the final season, the sacrifice and death of Sandor Clegane. She didn't grant Sandor the gift of death, but Sandor granted her the opportunity to live again the gift of life. But I believe this option is less likely because of option number 2, the Cleganebowl. Get hype everyone, it's going down, I'm calling it right now, the battle between Sandor, the Hound Clegane, and his older, bigger brother, the undead Franken Mountain Gregor Clegane. If the events of the episode of The Dragon of the Wolf didn't convince you that it's happening, I don't know what will. I mean, he literally said, you know who's coming for you. And in case you weren't hyped, let me fix that problem. Let's take a look at what Rory McCann himself had to say about the conversation and the Cleganebowl. The Hound puts it all aside just to go have a word with his brother. It shows you it's still very important to him. It's still burning away at him and he hates him. There's absolutely no chance he'll win. It's 100% that I will win. The Hound will win. He knows I can move pretty fast, and I'll be the little Jack Russell around his feet, kicking him in the balls and slapping him on his head. Don't worry, I've got my ways. This is ironic because this is the season we learned that Sandor can see what's in the flames. It was the main reason why they went ranging beyond the wall, where the mountain where the arrowhead was. I think it's pretty funny that he is getting hype about it. I think it's important that the Hound also had time to reflect on his journey and where he is now. He's at that point where he is living in the moment, which is something that is incredibly difficult to achieve for most people. I mean, I struggle with it every day, looking to the past or the future, but the fact that it's still in the Hound's mind is very important. And I think a group of Sandor, Arya, Jaime, and possibly Brienne will be headed to King's Landing to deal with the very real and still alive threat as that is Cersei Lannister. I've been debating, many of you and my own mind, whether this is going to happen earlier in the season or later on, and I'm going to have to side with the fact that it's going to happen later in the season because I believe that Cersei will be blocking off the entrance to King's Landing, much like the Mad King did. And I do believe at some point the North will have to fall back to King's Landing because the entire North will be overrun and they will need the possible refuge of King's Landing. But for Cersei to be removed as queen of the Seven Kingdoms, one thing is for sure, someone is going to have to go through that Frankenmonster that is the Mountain. And wouldn't it be awesome if this was one of the sweet moments that we will be getting as the series draws to a close, the death of Sandor Clegane at the hands of his brother. I'm still very on the fence if this is some sort of divine intervention that's happening within the Game of Thrones. Part of me believes that the Hound could be one of the Lord of the Light's chosen, whether he chooses to believe it or not. And wouldn't it be ironic if he used fire to kill his brother after defeating him in battle? This is the surefire way to kill the undead. I do hope very much that Sandor Clegane will survive the series. I think it would be a major victory for someone who has been tortured by one huge event his whole life. And if a Game of Thrones is going to make cripples, bastards, and broken things the survivors left picking up the pieces, I can certainly see Sandor being there at the end. But how do you all think it's going to go down? Do you prefer option number 1 or number 2? Or do you have your own option? Make sure you leave your thoughts about how the Hound's final journey will go in the comment section. Let's get hype, everyone. Cleganebowl's going down. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you don't forget to leave a like. There's going to be plenty more videos like this on the way. And make sure you follow me on social media to enter the giveaway for the Game of Thrones Season 7 DVDs. The links are in the description of this video. I would like to give a special shout out to all of my patrons on Patreon who continue to make all of these videos possible. Your support has been absolutely amazing, especially because YouTube continues, yeah, that's right, it's still happening, continues to demonetize my videos. And of course, thank you to all of you who support the channel. The fact that you take your time out of your day to watch my videos really means the world to me. I really do believe the sky is the limit with all of your support. And remember, hype is coming.
Fuck the king.
How much for your little plan?